As you can tell, I'm a basketball official. And so my goal today is basically to interweave a little bit of what I've been doing in basketball officiating with healthcare. Basketball, for those, by the way, just quick gauge. How many of you like sports, watch sports? Ooh, got nice part of the room. Okay, good. I almost had to go to do you ever watch the Super Bowl commercial? So you all understand sports. And so as referees, what happens, unfortunately? We get yelled at. We get lots of conflict management, a lot of teamwork on the positive side. All same things that administrators have to deal with, right? Constantly getting yelled at. You have conflict, but you also have a wonderful team that you also work with. And so my goal today is to basically interweave a lot of what we're talking about with refereeing into this. All right, so I figured I'd start with a nice little story. And this is when I was first starting out in Pee Wee, 4th and 5th grade girls basketball. And players were dribbling down the court. And the player basically comes into the middle of the paint area, ball comes off her leg, and a bunch of people are kind of going after it, and it rolls out of bounds. And I'm looking at this what just happened? She falls, did somebody touch it? And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, is it blue ball? Is it green ball? Whose ball is it going to be? And I just really didn't know. But thankfully, I had a fan who was screaming out, "Ref, you suck!" Okay, so maybe it wasn't so helpful. So it got me out of my mind. All right, blue ball, we're going down the other way. Just make a decision. So then I'm coming up the court, and coach is starting to ask me a lot of questions. Asked me just basically one question. He asked me if I was blind, right? Which I thought was kind of weird because clearly I'm not blind. So I just gave him an odd look and kind of questioned him and kind of went on. But what I realized afterwards is do I really want to be in a sport that I'm going to get constantly yelled at and questioned about if I can see? But then I realized I enjoy it. And I love being out there. And I love being able to give back. So how many of you out here kind of feel the same way? You have the conflicts, but in the end of the day, it's nice to be knowing that you're giving back. Yeah? How about on the flip side? Oh, sorry. How many of you have had trouble making decisions? How about having challenges and being able to resolve conflicts with your team? Or even motivate your team? Happen to anybody every now and then? These are all conflicts and challenges that we as officials have to deal with just as well, right? We have to be able to make decisions. And the one thing I learned from that decision, and from all the basketball decisions, is sometimes I just got to make it. I just got to say blue and deal with the fans and deal with the crowds and just be able to move on. So unfortunately, this happens to me all the time. And yes, that is me getting almost punched by Gary Payton. So those that know NBA fans, I'm about 5'8" on a good day. He's 6'6". So yes, this happens to me all of the time. And that's the one thing I've learned about officiating is there's constant conflict. But it's the conflict that it's helped me become the better leader that I am. And so all those that want a copy of today's slides, all you have to do is quickly scan that. I also put a little workbook together for leaders. So anybody that wants to scan that can scan that, and then I'll also make it available at the end. Just again, for those that want a copy of the slides, and I might have some fun little videos and you make the calls at the end. So here's my story. 20 years as a basketball official. I've refereed almost everything. So Division I, Division II, Division III, small level. So think of VCU or Liberty. I always get are you refereeing University of Wisconsin? I'm no, not yet. Hopefully one day. But right now it's smaller schools. I've done the USA Olympic trials when it came to Washington, D.C. I've done preseason for the NBA, WNBA, and G Leagues. And then Ice Cube, for those that know, started a summer league with a bunch of former NBA players like Gary Payton. So I referee that over the summer. So if you're randomly flipping through channels in the summer and turn on CBS and see a short white guy with a whole bunch of taller guys, that's me. So it's a fun league, and like I said, I will show some clips later about different decision makings. But I'm also in healthcare. I've been in healthcare for about 25 years. Started off in pharmaceutical device. In the last 15 years, I've been in senior care. So I've been working with facilities, communities, home care, staffing, don't kill me, and care management services. I've also grown 3 different companies to over 10 million, and it is the refereeing that has helped me become a better leader. And that's essentially my goal today, is to basically take those tracks to be able to show you what's, keep hitting this, sorry. Taking those tracks to be able to show you the same type of skills. So we got 5 main goals for today. Number 1 is decisiveness, handling conflict, teamwork, conflict resolution, clearly, and effective communication. And for the fun of it, at the very, very end, I've got a fun little you make the call. All right? So you guys stick around to the end. All right, first off, decisiveness. Decisiveness, the ability to make quick decisions. In the example I was giving you earlier, delays lead to confusions, right? If I sit there, ball goes out of bounds, I can't take a day to make that decision, right? I can barely take 5 seconds before someone on the fan starts chirping at me or player or coach starts chirping at me. I have to be able to make decisions. I got to be able to make decisions quickly. It's the same thing as an administrator, right? We have to be able to start to make decisions quicker so that basically we don't have any type of confusion, right? Now, can't go out there and show everyone how to be able to make decisions quickly. The truth of the matter is it all comes down to experience. See, in basketball officiating, I now have learned that if I can't see something, I may look at other factors that come involved. So the way the ball spins off, the way the players react. Those are different things that help me be able to make a decision. Same thing in your situations, whether it's staff fighting or if it's family or whatever it might be. You're going to have to start taking on some of the other previous conversations you've had with families, previous conversations you've had with staff to be able to make the decisions, to make them faster and make them quicker. But in the end, it all comes back down to making the call. And again, the quicker the call is made, the quicker that you're going to be able to move on. And more importantly, the staff, the family, whoever else you're dealing with is going to be able to move on in the situation. Just like in a basketball game. When that ball goes out of bounds, I turn, and I'm going to be able to just put the ball in play. 50% of the crowd might love me, 50% of the crowd might hate me. But in the end, the game keeps going on. The benefit of basketball is there's a clock, and the game keeps moving, it keeps rolling on. But a decision I make is set, it's done, and it moves on. I'm sure many of you have had a play done by a referee in a game where didn't like it, got upset. But in the end, the game has to keep going on. And the same thing with when we make decisions as administrators, be able to make that decision, continue to move on. So I brought in a nice little play. So I'm going to ask you all to make a quick decision. So we have 2 teams here. We've got a green team and a blue team. So I'm going to show you a situation only once, because as a referee, I only get to see it once, and many times as family members or administrators, you only get to see it once. So you can see a play once. I'm going to ask you if it's fouls on green, fouls on blue, or no foul. Good? All right, let's see.
Number 25, we go to that.
Oh.
Number 25, we go to that.
I don't have a pointer. Okay, so let's see if I can do it on the mic. This is the matchup you're looking at. Are we good? Okay, yeah. This is the matchup you're looking at. So again, fouls on blue, fouls on green, or no foul.
And the big men going at one another. Goes right through.
Foul on blue, raise your hand.
Blocking.
Fouls on green. Green wasn't set. All right, yeah, I guess I should probably. So a defender player has to basically be facing them. Doesn't necessarily have to be set. Has to be facing the offensive player and making sure. So he can defend, he can hold his spot, right? But he can't, pull back, or he can't move out of the way too much, or, hip check or any of that stuff, right? So he has to be able to be in front of the player and watch him. So let's see.
Number 25, we go to that.
So again, what did I say? Blue was decide green. Anybody not make a decision? Again, the point of this exercise is that you're making a decision. So here's the truth. So here's what happens. And there's 2 clips on it. Just like in life, not everything is 100% clear. So watch, here I want you to watch the player in green. He actually takes his arm of the offensive player of blue and pulls him down. Right? So not necessarily about the feet. It was more of like he tried to pull him down. And so you'll see him fall back and pull him down. There's actually going to be 2 angles on this. So watch the player in green, pull him down. Maybe one more angle. So watch his right arm kind of like holds him, pulls him down. All right. So, but again, it's making a decision, right? I can't sit here and just wait and wait and wait. That play happens, I have to be able to make a decision. One way or the other, blue, green, doesn't matter. Have to be able to make a decision. Was that good? You guys like that? Okay, quick sidebar, not part of my presentation. Would anybody be interested if I sent like an email on like Tuesdays, like you make the call to help with like decision making? Just raise your hand roughly if that would be somewhat at all interesting. Yes, no, okay. People like, okay. All right. Just something I was kind of thinking about after I was running through this earlier. Okay, next up, handling conflict. As a referee, this is how it works. Every time I blow the whistle, 50% of the crowd loves me, 50% of the crowd hates me. Every single time, right? I call foul on blue, blue's upset, green's happy. I call foul on green, green's happy. Or excuse me, blue's happy, green's upset. Every time I am constantly in conflict, right? As a referee, basically the game's set up for conflict, right? We've got both teams, green and blue, are both trying to win. They can't both win. They have to someone's going to have to win, someone's going to have to lose. I've got offense, defense, right? Players trying to score a basket. There is a defender who's trying to stop them from scoring the basket. There is constant conflict. Every time a play is down the court, there's constant conflict that I'm having to be able to learn, deal with, adjust with, right? So every single time I blow my whistle or not blow my whistle, I am making a decision. Here's one of the biggest things that I've learned, and this is another thing you're going to be able to hopefully take forward with you. And it all comes back down to how you handle the conflict. So in basketball officiating, if I blow a foul, right, on blue 12, and I come up and I go, boop. Okay, I think it's on blue 12, block, 2 shots, right? Or I come out and I, boom, got a foul on blue, 12, holds, 2 shots. Completely different, right? Clearly. And the difference is the sound of my voice. My head is up, right? Walking and talking with a purpose. So as you as administrators, after dealing with conflict, everyone also is always going to be watching your nonverbal, right? Are you making a decision and then you're kind of walking around the halls with your head down and slumped over? Or are you walking through the halls with your head up, chest back? Not to sound puffy and that you're trying to be a true leader, but just that shows that you're in control, that you know exactly what's going on. So again, how you walk, how you talk, all of your nonverbals and how you handle conflict really matters. The other thing that you notice is how my tone is. It's slow, it's loud, and it's in control. Again, first time it's like blue 12 here versus blue 12 holds 2 shots. It's slow, it's clear, and it's in control, right? So again, how you talk when you're relating with your different staff members is also going to have a big impact on your believability, right? If you're really quick and talks like, well, we're going to do this, It sounds like you're not in control. It sounds like you're not understanding what's going on. The number one lesson I learned in officiating was this next statement. Answer questions, don't answer statements. And I'll show you also how this really, really relates to your buildings and to your staff. As a basketball official, I've learned that I answer questions, and not statements. A statement, for example, to me is, ref, you suck, which unfortunately I hear from time to time. But it's also like, ref, he's holding me. Or, ref, he's in the lane. Versus a question, which is, hey, can you watch 34? He's hooking me every single time. Can you do this? Can you keep an eye on blue 12? He's moving his leg. He's playing defense with his hands. These are questions. I can answer questions. A statement like, again, ref, you suck, or he's in there for 3 seconds. Okay. I'll talk about this in a second. I'll probably say this a few times, but think about this in your own world, right? If you've got a staff member who's coming up to you and just saying, Janice is showing up late, and she's constantly doing this all the time, like Janice is showing up late, or Rebecca isn't hitting the call button, or anything like this. These are just statements. You don't have to necessarily answer statements. But if they're saying, Rebecca's showing up late and this is impacting me, can you help me out? That's a question. So one of the things to start thinking about is when you're starting to hear things pop up, again, answer questions, not statements. All right, let me give you an example of how this works in our world. So don't worry, you don't have to make a decision on this one. But I do want you to see conflict. So what you're looking is in this post play right here, right? So you're going to see one really big, tall, strong player and a little skinnier player, right? And you're going to see them bang, bang, bang. What I want you to do is watch this official right here on the lead, right? Watch how he handles this situation. All right. So regardless if you think there's a foul, and actually there's no foul on that play, what you see from the official, as I'll walk through this a little bit with you. So we see this situation, right? We see the situation of the two players banging, conflict, underneath, banging, banging, banging. We have a situation, right? Basket scores, ball actually goes, the reason they're stopping is because the ball actually goes back up top. But if you watch the official goes immediately to the situation. So he shows his presence, lets everyone know he's there. He's also walking calmly, but his head is up, his chest is up, so he's, again, making his presence known so everyone can see him. He's not trying to hey guys, break it up. He's getting in there, he's showing his presence, his shoulders are back, his head is up. Again, they're also 6'5", so our heads are pretty much always up, which is a nice little benefit for us. But he's showing that he's in command the whole time, right? So again, as leaders, how are we walking? What is our presence inside the community to show that that we know exactly what's going on? And especially when there's situations, are we going right to them? Are we letting people know, hey, I'm here, what can I do? What do you need? Stuff like that. Does this make sense? Helpful? Do you guys like the video plays? Cool. All right, let me show you how this works in your world. So it's a matter of listening before you speak, right? So when that official went in, he just kind of stood there and looked up and made sure everything was okay. So first and foremost, it's a matter of just taking in all of the situation, listening to your team. What are they telling you? What's going on? Listening to the families to the most part. What is going on? Listening before you just come in and say, we need to do this, 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 and this, right? Matter of listening first. Whoa. Acknowledge their concerns. Repeat back if necessary. For all those that have taken, communication classes or different counseling classes, it's always good to repeat back what the person says, right? So one of the best things to, when a family is starting to be concerned, or staff members are upset. It's a matter of saying, okay, I hear what you're saying. I understand that you're worried that Janice is always showing up late. You're worried, family member, you're worried that the staff member is not attending to your mom quick enough. I hear what you're saying. Let's talk through some good next steps. When you do communicate, again, I'm not saying you have to be loud. Probably should have cut that part of this section of it, but it is slow, right? Slow, in command, in control, so that you know what you're doing. I know we all have thousands and thousands of things that we're going through and working through, and have 1,000 things that we need to move on to and get with. But the more we can kind of just slow it down and stay in control, the more the family's going to have respect for us. If we start talking super fast, they're going to think that we don't care, or they're going to think that we're immature. Because all those, UW kids that were here earlier this week, I don't think many of them are here anymore, right? They're all like, super talking super fast, right? Versus some of us who have been around for a while, it's slow, in command, in control. The best example I like to give is a female police officer. So anybody ever been pulled over? Hopefully not, but wow, we got a nice, great room. No one's been pulled over. Nice. It's funny. I always ask that question. Nobody raises their hand. I don't know what it is, right? But here's what I want you to think about. When you get pulled over by a police officer, is a police officer coming over to your door or your window and saying, okay, let me tell you what's going on. I'm going to need your license, your registration, and you ran through the red light and all of this stuff. Does that ever happen? Has a police officer ever been that fast? Never. Absolutely not. They're also not asking questions for the most part. They literally walk up to your window and say, license, registration. That's it. They make a statement. You know what you're supposed to do, right? Even those that have never been pulled over probably still know what you need to do, right? The example I like to give is the female police officer, right? And this isn't a sexist thing one way or the other, but think about it. Even the female police officers, and women usually have a little bit of a higher voice, still comes over to your door and still says, license and registration. Right? It's not, hey, can I have your license? Can I have your registration? Right? It's not like that. It's always a lower voice. License, registration. Slow, in command. It's really, so again, as you're having those conversations, again, it's just something else to think about. And again, as you'll probably hear me say a few things over and over again, it's a statement, it's not a question. Right? Again, these are different ways to show yourself in control. Questions, comments? Teamwork. All right, so in a basketball court, there's 3 teams, right? There's the home team, the visiting team, and us as officials, we're a team. We all work together, right? We've got to make sure the game goes smoothly. We've got to make sure that we see and help each other out in different plays and different situations so that we don't have a fight or we don't have an incident on the court. And a lot of that goes back to our pregame conference. So before every high school game and college game and pro game, our crew will get together and we're going to talk about the game. Right? We're going to talk about how we want to call similar plays on both ends. No, we're not saying that we want the Packers to win every single time or we want the Packers to lose, even though I'm sure there's some people out there that says, man, that referee hates us. He never wants us to win. We actually don't talk about the teams before the games. As far as that goes, we really don't care who wins, who loses. I know many of you don't believe that, but referees don't care who wins or loses. More important for us is we want this game just to go smooth. We don't want to be on SportsCenter the next day for a bad call or a fight or something like that. If we never show up on SportsCenter, that's a win for us. If you, at the end of the game, think, hey, this was a fun game, I never thought about the referees once, that's a win for us. It all starts back in our pregame. So when we're talking about what different things might go on. Is this in basketball terms, is this a team that's going to run up and down the court a lot? Is this a team that's more physical? Do they have big guys that are going to be, banging back and forth? Do they have Steph Curry who's just going to shoot threes all night long? And our game as officials, we need to know that because if I've got Steph Curry, I need to make sure that I've got an eye on the three-point line, so he's always behind the three-point line. Or if I've got a left-handed guard coming up the court, I know that the ball is most likely going to go to the left-hand side, right? So these are different things I'm talking about in my game. We also talk about what we can see and what we can't see, right? So if I am underneath the basket and a player starts turning away from me, my partner needs to know that I can't see through his back. He's going to have to help me out. We're going to probably show video clips, and we're going to be able to say, hey, if you see that player turn like this, I need you to be able to pick him up. If you see, Steph Curry's arm go out like this, he probably got hit. What are different situations? What are different things that are going to happen in this game? We've got one coach who's going to just chap, right? We've got Draymond Green who's going to complain, or LeBron James who's going to complain after every single foul, right? We know this ahead of time so that we're prepared. Those that are like, yeah, LeBron every single time. No joke. It's like, I'm glad you guys know that too. It's like, yes, we all know LeBron James complains after, and Draymond Green complains after every call, right? So, but those are things we're talking about. Because I need to know just like your staff members, who can I go to and who can I talk to, and who that I know is just going to complain the entire time. Right? So before every game, we're talking about the different plays, what we can see, what we can't see, and how we're going to be able to help each other out and come together. So if we have an incident, we're going to be able to come together and say, okay, I saw this, I saw that, the clock was this, the score was this, the time is this, the out of bounds here. So we're able to come together and we're working as a team to be able to see everything. Now, how does this relate in your world? Well, I assume most of you have weekly, daily team meetings, stand-ups, and all the stuff that you're working with your team. And I assume many of you are also talking about potential families that are discharging out, that are, need to discharge out, but are probably going to complain that their mom's not ready. Right? We've never heard that. Or that they're going to fight the insurance to get an extra 10 days. Right? So we prepare our staff to figure out what's going to happen and be prepared for that. We talk about what families might need to go with home care services or home health services. And we talk about, what's the best way to do this or that. We talk about, and then the positives. Hopefully we're also talking about recognition of some of our staff members that aren't in those meetings of things that they probably did well. But all of these things is to help prepare us, right? Because we need to know if a family's going to go on hospice, or if we have to have the talk about home care, or we have to talk about, shutting their stay down early because of insurance or something otherwise, right? It's making sure our team is prepared for any type of pushback or things that we've noticed already from families. Hey, no matter what, we're going to get a call from this family every single day at 2 o'clock complaining about their mom doesn't have enough water, nobody's seen them in an hour or something like that. So utilizing these morning meetings, these team meetings, to be able to just prepare for real world discussions. And utilizing our team members to be able to help with that. If we know one of our team members just went through an emotional situation, or their mom just passed away from being on hospice or something like that, are they going to be the best person to talk to a family about hospice or not? Are they too emotional to deal with this? We have other staff members that are, monotone and have, don't look at anything. And you have a family member that's really high and low. Is that the best person as far as personalities to deal with, other types of families? So knowing your staff and who can talk to different families when we need to talk to the families about certain situations that may come up. So knowing your staff's strengths and weaknesses is huge, and knowing what they also want to do. Yeah, right? So if you have staff members on your team, one of the other great questions is just being able to staff, what is your goals? Where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? Where do you want to be? And you might have that young person who wants to be an administrator one day. And they're great with families, and they're great on the healthcare side, but they have no idea about a P&L report, or or how to get a referral, or how to talk to a family on discharge, right? So what are different things, by knowing your staff members, what they want to do, what they want to accomplish, where can we set them up for success? And that might be, someone in dining that wants the only reason they got into dining in your facility is to just break into healthcare one way or the other, right? But having those types of conversations. Also, we talk about collaborating on projects, right? So if we have, God forbid the state came in and we just got dinged on, 8 different things, it's not all on the DON, but there's certain things that maybe the activities director can partner with, or one of your younger staff who wants to show leadership skills might be able to help out to help alleviate any of those citations that we may have gotten. Right, so there are different ways that our team members can collaborate on projects to be able to help each other out and work better as a team. Because if we keep everything siloed, it doesn't help. The more we integrate everybody else, we all know this with the different, when we go out and celebrate. The more we get to learn about our team members, the more we get to hear everything else that's going well. All right, conflict resolution. Questions, anything so far? Good? All right. Conflict resolution. So first, as a referee, listen to somebody with all of your senses. So as I said earlier, when that ball, boom, pops out of bounds, and I have no idea where it goes, I can't just be like, hold on, stop, let's go to the monitor. It's like the first minute of the game. I have no idea where the ball went. Let's go to the monitor, or if there's no monitor in a high school game, jump ball. Like, I can't just do that every single time. I have to be able to start to utilize my experiences. I have to start to utilize my senses as far as what happened. I'm going to look at, now what I look at is I look at the rotation of the ball. If it was Steph Curry who's got a clean shot and that's a clean rotation and it suddenly goes sideways, I know the ball was probably really tipped. If the player is driving towards me and that ball bounces and goes back towards him, it was probably touched or probably tipped, maybe off the foot, right? So I am looking at different things that's going to be able to help me determine how to be able to make the right call. Again, rotation of the ball, direction of the ball, how players react. If I call out of bounds and they start walking down the other way, and I just wait an extra second and they're all walking that way, boop, okay, ball's going that way, right? I'm going to use all of the different senses to be able to help me make the best decision. Just like many of you, as you're walking in the different situations of families, right? Looking around the room and being able to say, are they in a good mood? Are they in a bad mood? Are they anxious, right? Once the conflict is happening, this is where I go from, question statements into asking, not telling. So if I'm in the middle of a conflict, if I'm having issues with a staff member, if I'm having issues with a family member, this is the time when I'm in the middle of it that I'll ask questions, right? So if I've got a family, chirping at me and talking for like 10, 15 minutes at this point, I'm just going to ask them a question. I'm going to say, okay, what would you like me to do? How would you like me to handle this? What are your suggestions? Because I need to get them to stop talking. Because what questions do, and when you're in conflict and you're having issues, is it gets someone to stop and think, right? So if I stop and I ask you a question, how's this presentation going so far? You're all going to be like, I'll think about it, and then I'll respond. So again, when I'm having conflict, when I'm having families chirping at me for like 10 straight minutes, or that staff member who's just going off, or anything else, I might stop them by asking them a question. Then they'll stop, they'll have to think about a response, and they'll move on. Again, it's a great way to get families to stop talking to us. And in a referee's world, what I mean by that is, if I've got 2 players that are just heated and battling and hitting at each other, I'm going to basically say, hey guys, can you watch out for me? Can you guys calm down for me? Or if I'm trying to get a player into the lane, I might say, hey guys, can you step into the lane? Or a coach. If I've got a coach who's just, ref, you suck, and you missed this, and you missed that, and da-da-da-da-da-da. I might just go to the coach, hey coach, can you just take a step back? Hey coach, can you sit on your bench? Hey coach, can you give me a minute? All right? So asking him for a favor, asking him a question is going to get him to stop and be like, wait, what? Oh, you need me to sit? Okay, let me step back, I'm on the court. Okay. So again, asking questions, because if I did the opposite in this coaching situation, where I say, hey, coach, need you to step back. Coach, can you please, take a seat. Hey, coach, can you please watch 45? He's holding the player. Versus a statement where I say, coach, coach, 45's going to be in trouble. Coach, back up. Coach, don't say another word to me. Those are statements, and that's just going to aggravate the situation. Questions kind of alleviate the situation and calm people down when I'm in the middle of a conflict. Explain why. Offer other options, not threats. So clearly, When I call a foul on a player and he's upset, I am not going to threaten him. I don't threaten coaches, right? I'm not the guy who says, you say one more word and I'm going to tee you up. You say one more thing and you're out of here, right? I'm not going to go up to a player. I'm not going to go to a coach and threaten them and warn them and all this. No, I'm going to give them options. All right, coach, you got two options. Either grab a seat or I'm going to give you a tech. You can choose, whichever you want to do. Go up to players. Either you stop playing with your hands when you're guarding him, or I'm going to have to keep teeing you up, right? So I'm going to offer options, not threats. I'm not going to say, I'm going to sit you out, because when we talk about this, right? I can simply go up to a player, and if I keep calling a foul, boop, 15, hand check, boop, 15, hand check, boop, 15, hand check. What do you think the player's going to do? Hopefully, he'll stop, right? I'm not threatening him. I'm not saying you're going to be out of the game. I'm not telling the coach. But after that third time, he's got 3 fouls on him, that coach is going to realize, maybe I should get him out of the game, right? So giving these players a chance, and that's what I'm talking about when I say second chances, right? Giving these players an opportunity to, hey, you keep doing this, I'm going to keep calling a foul. Boop, 15, hand check, right? We've got 2 options here. So again, offering options, giving these players a second chance as a way to be able to control the game without me enforcing myself, without me kind of trying to take over, right? Nobody likes that referee that's just like, telling everybody what to do and just trying to give a tee and just take over the game, right? The game, we all know, even as officials, it's all for the fans. We want this to have fun, and we don't want to be there. All right, let me show you an example of a conflict. All right, so let me break this up. This is also my daughter's favorite clip. Quick fun sidebar. For all those that are the last 10 seconds of this clip is something you've never seen in basketball. I've never seen it in my entire life. So the best part of this clip is the end, but it has a nice fun lessons up into that. So just as a heads up, you will see something you've never seen before. Okay, so come on. I'm probably gonna mess this up 3 times, but I'm gonna try to do this right. Okay, you're watching the post play. You're watching the players, 2 big players in the end, okay? The official at the far left, underneath the basket, is the one that's gonna be making a call, right? So what you're gonna see is the defender basically hug him. He's gonna grab him so the offensive player has nowhere to go. What I want you to, the more important part of this is you're going to see conflicts. And I think the volume's up, so you're actually going to hear a lot of the conflict too. Right? So let's see if maybe I'll talk through it. Right? So he has a foul. Boom, head up, takes control, fouls on, right? He is not saying, now he's asking a question. At first, he was not asking a question. He said, what? That's not me. I didn't foul him. No way. Now he's asked a question, but he's animated. So when someone's animated, we're just going to walk away, right? I don't want to deal with it. I want to be able to get away from type of conflict situations. Again, I'm still up, heads up. I'm not shying away from this person who's literally screaming in my face, right? But that's the conflict part of this. All right, yes. By the way, if you guys don't think we get yelled at and screamed at, there is nothing like a 6'8" guy who weighs 350 pounds screaming at your face. There is nothing like that. This is wild. All right, but what I wanted you to see from that was referee was in control the entire time. He kept his head up, and what you'll see is, so he ends up, I'm going to speed this along just for the fun of it. So he keeps berating, just like families who just don't get it, or staff members who don't get it. At some point, we got to let them go. So in our game, we're giving him a tech, second tech, he's out of the game, right? Just like families, hey, I need you to calm down. We can't talk right now. You're not listening to me. Why don't you calm down? We'll talk when you're more focused. We've all done this to our family members. We've all done this to our staff members. It's like, stop. When you're ready to calm down, we can have a conversation. Clearly, he's not ready to have a conversation, right? So, fun sidebar. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in basketball in my entire life. What he does next. Okay? Should be normal walk in the stands. No. I'm going to go into the stance. Oh, it gets better. It gets better. Right? Hold on. Takes off his shirt. Throws his shirt into the fans. Gets better. What could possibly happen next? No, he's not going to. Yes, he threw his shorts into the crowds. That actually happened. There's video. That actually happens. There is no leadership that I can tell you that will help you with that. That's just crazy. Hopefully you've never had to deal with crazy. You probably have. That was the most insane thing I've ever seen in basketball in my entire life. I'm actually so happy I actually have it on tape because nobody would believe me otherwise. So, yes, as referees, we deal with conflicts and we deal with crazy, emotional people all of the time, right? All right, so bring this back to you guys. How to avoid conflicts? Number one is don't avoid, right? So it's not like at first you don't want to avoid. Once they get crazy and emotional, you're going to avoid. But at first, you want to be able to listen to the situations, right? We've talked about this a few times already, right? Being able to take in everything, being able to listen to the situation, take in the senses, right? If there's a conflict, don't avoid. We talked about earlier, making a decision quickly, making a decision moving on. So don't avoid the situations that come up. Be the bigger person. How many of you have at least 5 years or more experience as a leader, administrator? Raise your hand. Give me hands real quick. Okay. So 80% of the room. This is actually the hard. I was hoping for the younger people. For those that are younger and just getting into your leadership roles, here's what all of the people that just raised their hand will tell you: is it's more important to be the bigger person than to be right. And as I said that, like everybody shook their head. Be the bigger person. You don't have to be right. As a leader, I don't have to, and you don't have to win every single fight with a family. You don't have to win every single fight with a staff member. Let them win. Be the bigger person, right? And say, hey, sometimes as a referee, I'm not 100%. I don't go through the entire game. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. In refereeing, I can go up to a coach, I can go up to a player, and I say, look, I might have missed that one. You may have had a better view than I did. I might have kicked the call. Now, I don't do it a lot. Just like as leaders, we're not going to do it a lot. But every now and then, it's okay to go up to your staff member. It's okay to go up to a family member and say, you know what? We might have kicked that one. Might have slipped up that one. I apologize. You're right. So it's important as administrators to understand that, listen, it's okay to allow somebody else to win. It's more important that we be the bigger person, that we admit, and that we handle it. Be accommodating. Again, when these families, what are different ways, what are different situations where we can be able to work with this family, work with our staff members, work with, different situations to be able to put ourselves in a bigger situations and a better situation. What are different options that we can do? Again, with compromising and then collaborating. Again, if it's team members, so I'll give you a great situation. I was working with a team last week, and they had a conflict between their recruiter and their scheduler. So the recruiter would bring in these great CNAs, and they would say, this CNA should be in memory care, and this CNA should be in long-term care, and this CNA should be in assisted living. The scheduler was like, I need more people in memory care. We're well-staffed in assisted living. I need everybody in the memory care or the dementia wing, right? So the recruiter couldn't understand why she was bringing in all of these people and throwing them all into memory care. And the scheduler was getting upset with the recruiter, trying to tell him what to do and with her people and where to schedule them. So made the simple suggestion of when I said, just bring them into the team, right? Listen to the situations, be the bigger person. But here's the suggestion I made. I said, let's just role reversal real quick. Let's just role play this out. So the scheduler became the recruiter became the scheduler. And I said, if you're the scheduler, now recruiter, you bring in the staff member who you want to be in assisted living, how would you bring that up? Well, I would say this person is assisted living still, so on and so forth. I said, okay, scheduler, recruiter, now scheduler. You heard that her take, she needs somebody in, she's bringing in someone who's skilled with assisted livings, but you want to put them in memory care. What are you going to do? Well, I'd do this or that. And what they able to do was they actually started to realize the other person's job, right? The recruiter started to understand that the scheduler, it's more important that we have the ratios, that we have staff, that we be able to get to the families that really need it. And the recruiter, and the scheduler understood that she's bringing people in, and maybe she just needs to communicate more. Hey, I need you to recruit more people in with dementia experience, with Alzheimer's experience, with memory care, cognitive impairment experience. And so by role reversing, they're kind of able to see what each other were able to do and be able to work it out. So again, are there ways that we can help work with our team? Role-playing, collaborating? Are there ways they can kind of collaborate on different projects to be able to help the overall goal of the team? All right, this is last one. Last section is effective communication. So I'm going to kind of run through this. How am I doing on time, by the way? Am I good? Good. All right. Number one, so let me run through this. Know the situation. What do I mean by that? So in basketball terms, this is what I know every time the ball comes past half court. So in my mental game, one of the things I'm looking at is time, score, and foul. Okay? Here's a fact that you all, as sports fans, absolutely hate, but is absolutely true. Our game changes, depends on the score, the fouls, the time and the score and the fouls. I call the game differently in the first 2 minutes of the game than I do in the last 2 minutes. I know the rules are all the same, and you all hate to hear that statement, but the last 2 minutes are completely different than the first 2 minutes of the game. Also, I will change my game based off the score. If the score is a 2-point game versus a 20-point game. Here's why. Here's why my thing changes. Because the teams change. If it is a 2-point game, you're going to see those teams up and like defense and really close, especially the last 2 minutes of the game. But in the first 2 minutes of the game, if it's 2 minutes, they're just doing their normal basketball play. Flip side, 20-point game. Team that's up by 20 is going to take the ball and just bring it up slowly. They're going to like pass it around. They don't need to speed up. On the flip side, that team that's down by 10 is going to what? They're going to press right away. They're going to be really tight. They're going to stay near the shooters, right? And as a referee, I need to know if it's a 20-point game, if it's a 2-point game, if we're about to shoot one-on-one on the fouls, if we've got, again, 2 minutes into the game or 2 minutes into the game, because, again, if that team is down by 10 with 2 minutes left, they're probably going to press. So I can't just run down the court after I made basket. I've got to stick and stay, right? I've got to watch that ball come up. I know that the players and the coaches are going to be chirping a little bit more. Again, for me, I need to know the situation every time I cross midcourt. So I'm looking up, I know what the team is, I know it's time, the score, and the fouls are. It also helps me be able to just respond to plays instead of react to plays. If I don't know what's going on, then I might think a team is trying to foul on purpose. Or they're out of situation. On the flip side, if they're trying to play tight defense, they're going to go for a steal versus going for a foul. So I need to be able to understand that and not be able to react. Just because he's swiped near his arm or swiped like this, is he trying to foul? At the end of the game, on the flip side, teams are trying to foul. So a team that's down by 6 in basketball terms, they may try to foul, right? So with 2 minutes into the game, this is contact. 2 minutes left in the game when a team is trying to foul quickly, that's a foul. Because they're trying to stop the clock, they're trying to put the ball in play. So again, knowing the situations allows me to respond to them and not just react to simple fouls. Be authentic. The same way I'm going to act is the same way I'm going to act throughout the entire game, how I handle coaches as far as my voice and my textures. Again, anticipate trends. Again, teams that's down, going to start going on a run and gun. Are they going to start shooting more threes? So again, where do I know where to go? How do I need to be able to talk to my teammates? If they're in fouling situations, are they going to call timeout? So I'm saying, hey, next time down the court, next foul, we're shooting 2 shots. Or, keep an eye on 31, he's fouling. Or, tighten this game up. It's, starting to get out of hand. It's getting too rough, we need to tighten the game up. So I'm communicating also with my team members what I'm seeing and players that are going to start causing me trouble that we need to be able to watch as tempers may flare. Another great example is, so we talk about in our pre-games in basketball, anytime there's a block shot, a steal, or a slam dunk where someone just got posterized, the first thing we do is we look at the person that just got the ball stolen from them, their shot block, or just got posterized. Because they're most likely the person that's going to react, and I need to be able to prepare myself for them trying to retaliate on someone that just showed them up and the fans got excited. So knowing these types of situations, I can start to communicate with my team members, and I can get into situations where, hey, just calm down, chill out a little bit. We're keeping an eye on it. We're watching it. So again, I'm understanding when I talk about trends, those are the type of things I'm talking about. And actions speak louder than words. So I kind of used this example earlier, but again, if I need a situation to happen, if I need players to stop, if I need to start calling more fouls or the player needs to stop using his hands, I'm going boop, 15, hand check. Boop, 15, hand check. Boop, 15, hand check, right? Those actions that I'm doing is going to speak much louder than get your hands off, get your hands off, get your hands off, get your hands off, get your hands off. Also, most coaches don't like us coaching players, and they say, if I say, keep your hands off as far as hand checking in basketball, then they hate that. So instead, I can do this, and hopefully he stops. Players hopefully understand the purpose we're trying to do. So again, actions, even in refereeing terms, speak much louder than words. This is a quick example. So again, in this big 3 game, we have a rule. So again, it's half court. We have a rule that after a made basket, the teams have to clear the lane. You're going to see the official underneath the basketball. Just again, this is just communication. And he uses verse. So he's basically going to say, clear. Right? So, I'm sorry, after change of possessions, they have to clear the lane. So you can hear him saying, clear, 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 to get the players out. And again, his actions of being able to help out the team so it's a better situation. All right. In the workplace, first, communicate the right way. What is the goal? So every time you're having a conflict situation, every time you're having a team meeting, every time you're having challenge with your staff or your team members, what is the ultimate goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to get the family members to sign papers? Are you trying to get a staff member to show up on time? What is your ultimate goal? Active listening, we've kind of touched on this as far as going into the situation, understanding and listening to their situation of why they're doing what they're doing, being able to embrace it. Again, I'm going to say this a few times because it just works for me and it's worked in my leadership roles. Answer questions, not statements. Here's how this works. Let me give you a last one that's how this works on a positive trend. You have a staff member that just did a great job. But you also know that staff member is a huge talker. So, right? And we're all like, yes, I know exactly what you're about to say. Right? I can make a statement and now ask questions. So as a great leader, we walk the halls and we talk to our team members, all those things. Right? And the team members that are doing great jobs, we want to be able to acknowledge them. But we also don't want to get into a 10-minute conversation. Right? We don't want to, we want to applaud Janice for doing something, but we don't want a 10-minute, either bitch fest or just complaining or why she did it or what else. So this is another opportunity to be able to use statements, not questions. So a lot of times what I tell a lot of administrators I work with is just make it a 2-minute. Hey, Janice, just want to say thank you so much for staying late, picking up overtime. That's a statement. I'm not going to say, right, so again, it's thank you so much for doing this. Appreciate this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not asking her a question. I'm not asking her like, how are you doing? I'm not asking, how are you doing today? Honestly, I'm not saying, how's everything going? I'm not saying, to the people that I know are going to be talkative, right? I'm not asking them questions where I'm going to sit in a 15-minute conversation, right? So how are you doing, or what's going on, or tell me what's going on, or how's everything going? I want to have those conversations when I have the time, but if I'm simply walking to an appointment, I'm walking to a family, I'm walking to a team meeting, and I see someone, I want to be able to acknowledge them, hey, just want to say a quick thank you so much for doing what you're doing. I appreciate it. Right? I don't have to ask them questions. I can make a statement, because if I say, thank you so much for doing something, what is their response going to be? You're welcome. Thank you. Cool. Right? They're not going to ask me a question back. They're just going to say thank you. So again, statements, not questions. Show appreciation. We all know this. Nate was here earlier this week doing a presentation from Seika Foundation as far as showing appreciation. We know how important this is. They do a great job of it. The other one, anybody here use these caregiver like rewards apps like CareCrown? There's some great apps going on right now with that shows appreciation. Quick side, easiest way to explain it is, if you remember back in the day when you went to an arcade and you collected all the tickets for winning prizes, there's now apps like CareCrown that basically rewards people for showing up on time, finishing their paperwork, picking up extra shifts, and they get little rewards points. Like we used to get like the tokens. They get rewards points and they can use them for like gift cards and everything else. But the interesting thing it's doing is, just like when you got the tickets, you would probably keep going back to that same arcade, right? We have Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or Marriott or United Airlines points. Why do we collect those? And we keep going back to the same United Airlines or Starbucks. So these reward apps basically actually helps with recruitment and retention, because if I'm getting rewards with this company, I'm probably going to continue to work with this company to get more rewards and get whatever cash prize. So there's a lot of different ways to show appreciation. And this is not just like, leave candy on their desk. It's doing all the, doing the monthly cake. It's celebrating them on your social medias. A lot of different ways to kind of show appreciation. Make time for team building, right? Getting the entire team involved. That's it. So what are the 5 things that we learned today? Decisiveness, handling conflict, teamwork, conflict resolution, and effective communication, right? And I still got one more to make the call if you guys are interested. Yes? All right. But before we get there, from you guys, give me 1 or 2 things that you guys are going to take away from today that you're learned and you're going to be able to utilize in your teams in the following weeks. This is the part where you guys actually get to say something. Right? So you get to say, all right, thank you very much. Go ahead.
So I'm the retention director for a company, and I didn't really know about those apps that you were talking about.
Yeah.
At the very end there, so I did write that down. So I know that's kind of on the side note.
Hey, it still counts. It still counts. Yeah, company is CareCrown. So, yep, absolutely. Anybody else? Anything else? Go ahead.
You can be short and powerful.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Anything else? Go ahead.
Address conflicts immediately. Don't delay. Don't procrastinate.
Yes, 100%. Absolutely. Conflicts, big issues. Anybody else? You guys just want to play. I know it. Any questions for me? No. Just get to the play. All right, I see a couple people with their phones out, so I'm going to give a quick second. So if anybody wants a copy of the presentation, you can scan that. I'll send you a copy of the presentation with the video clips included. Go ahead.
I do have one question.
Sure.
As an official, but I think we don't apply it to the workplace. How do officials handle instant replay, where you're, in a sense, second guessed? And as a leader in the workplace, you'll always be second guessed. How do you handle that?
Yeah, it's definitely the thing it's good for the fans and bad for the referees. And those that know, in the NBA, they actually came out with a 2-minute report where they literally publicly judge every single one of the calls in the last 2 minutes of an NBA game. So yes, but in the end, what I'll say is, if it gets the right answer, that's the ultimate goal, right? We're not perfect. I've never refereed a game and made 100% of my calls correct. Many of you probably can say the same thing as far as some of your decisions. Well, heck, we have politicians who've said that they wish they would have made other decisions. So the benefit of replay is that we do get to look at a foul, a flagrant three-point shot, ball hit the rim, those types of resetting of the clock. So we do have that type of benefit. And like I said, in the end, it's about getting it right. And that goes back to being the bigger person. I know I can accept that, you know what, I missed it. And I can admit that. And this video shows me otherwise. All right, you ready for the call? All right, so let me give you a situation first. I'll make sure I go through the rule. Okay, so we're gonna have a situation, so white, black, and that's actually me making this call. So this is a pick and roll play. For those that don't know what a pick and roll play is, the offensive team, which is the team in black, is gonna dribble the ball up to one of his own players. His own player is, by rule, has to stay still, right? Cannot move. He's basically a brick wall. He has to stay still the entire time, okay? The defensive player who's guarding basically can go, under him, you can go above him, but, can't go through him, can't push him over, all right? Basics, good. So you can make referees out of all of you. Out of this. All right, so again, we're watching the play up top. So it's going to start up top and it's head right there. So again, it's a foul on black, it's a foul on white. All right, here we go. Foul on black. I like everyone's hands like this. Right? You're a leader. You need to be able to make a decision and stick with it and feel comfortable with it. Black? No, you can't get a replay. You get a replay and, when staff comes over to you and yells at you? Do I get a replay? After you vote, I'll make you a deal. Well, here, we'll do it. You know what? I'll give it to you. So this is the last one where everyone's trying to get out of here. All right. Let's vote first. I'll show you the replay, see if that changes your vote, and then I'll give you the answer. Sound good? All right, so black, but I want you to make a decision. Mister, that's the whole purpose of this, right? Black, okay. White. Oh, a lot more for white. Good. Now we'll let you see it again. All right. All right, black. A little bit more black than people are like, now I'm raising their hand, like I'm comfortable. I'm making a decision today. Good. White. Kind of almost like 50-50. All right. So here's what actually happens. And just like life, people will try to trick you. Okay? And there is a foul in this play, but I want to show you, this is what I mean by tricking, right? So sometimes families aren't always telling us the full truth, or staff members aren't always telling us the truth. Things like this, players have a way of trying to trick us. And so what you're going to see in this play is this player is going to try to trick us. The player on white, who's on defense, is going to go up to the player and take his leg, lift it up, move it over, and look like he's falling down. You're like, that did not happen. I watched this thing twice. That did not happen. Watch the player on white pick up the leg of the defender and move it. Show you guys some plays you've probably never seen before. Watch this. So, see it? Replay it again. Huh? Slow motion? I don't think I'm not on this. see if I can pause it. Oh no, that's not what I want to do. Yeah, I got plenty of these plays, by the way. I was going to say, if you guys are interested, let me know afterwards if you want more of these, just to be able to help with decision making. See if I can pause it. Right there. See how his right foot, I know the video's not 100% clear, but if you see his right foot, it actually starts to lift and pull over. So it's not, but I mean, you'll hardly ever see this in a high school or college game. The players are, it's like, it's like we're always talking about, right? It's experiences. They know how to fool the ref. Families have learned how to fool us. Staff members have tried to fool us. Players try to fool referees, right? It's a matter of experience, knowing my situation, knowing the players, looking at everything to be able to take it in. So, was that good? Was that fun? Okay, good. All right. And that's it. So just want to say thank you all very much for having me. I appreciate if you, again, want a copy of the slides or the workbook, or you want to learn more about myself, or if you have leadership meetings and you'd love me to kind of speak at your team meetings or anything like that, I'm happy to do so. But otherwise, thank you all very much for having me. Hope you enjoyed it. And when you're doing the surveys, make sure, 5-star report, all that good stuff. Thank you.